Amnesia Collection, a collection that keeps getting better. The Amnesia Collection features 2 full games and 1 add-on. First, we have The Dark Descent. Amnesia The Dark Descent is one of the most critically acclaimed survival horror games of all time. And while I found it great at being a puzzle game, I didn't find it great at being a survival horror game. You play as Daniel exploring a dark castle. The dark plays a huge part in this game as there is a sanity gauge. If you stay in the dark too long, it messes with your mind and things get blurry. Thankfully, you can light candles and torches with tinder boxes you find throughout the world, and you have a lantern to carry around. There's a catch though: light attracts enemies, and you're defenseless, so you have to hide in the shadows and not look directly at them to survive. However, to today's standards set by games like Outlast, enemy encounters are more of an eye roll than a terror. Checkpoints are extremely forgiving, making these encounters hardly matter at all, so really they kind of just annoy you in the many maze-like sections of the game. My ultimate complaint of this game is that it isn't balanced with any bit of awareness in mind. It's balanced in a way that the game expects players to be in locations for only a few seconds, but this isn't how things turn out beyond the first hour or so. There's a massive focus on adventure game-like puzzles here, and these puzzles take a great deal of time to complete, and they never stop, ever. It's puzzle after puzzle after puzzle after puzzle. To solve these puzzles, you have to find 3 to 6 different items in different areas, combine them, put them in the right spot, and do it again and again. And it's not even that simple. Remember the dark castle part? That lantern you're carrying around, it needs oil to work. And oil is far too scarce in this game, leading you to be lost in a dark maze, feeling around for an object or an area to progress. And it's an insane nuisance. The dark isn't scary, it's just annoying. This is a puzzle game, for crying out loud. I need to see things. Way too much backtracking for oil to run out as fast as it does, or to be so limited as it is. The game has basically solved these way too frequent puzzles by feeling around in the dark, while we annoy you with levels that feel like mazes and sometimes an enemy to get in your way. Amnesia is still a great game. It's just not great at what it sets out to do. It gets your brain going, it gets the wheels spinning, but it doesn't get your heart racing. If you like to be annoyed while you try to figure out puzzle solutions, this is a great game. But if you're looking for something to make you sit on the edge of your seat while you desperately cling on to hopes of finding a solution to escape, this isn't it. The pacing is too slow, and the gameplay balance is non-existent. And then there's Justine, the 1 hour plus expansion to Dark Descent. Here you play as Justine and have to either save or kill victims to proceed. It does what the original couldn't do. It keeps you on the edge of your seat with the eerie rooms, straightforward puzzles, but an added stipulation of permadeath. This game doesn't save, which makes enemy encounters and chases insanely terrifying. And finally, a machine for pigs. Nearly everything I didn't like about Amnesia The Dark Descent was fixed with the machine for pigs. This is actually sort of a different game. Gone are the constant puzzles, tinderboxes, lamp oil, inventory, and health management. Instead of survival horror, this is more of an adventure horror game with light puzzle elements. In a machine for pigs, you play as Oswald, a father of 2 sons that wakes up to an empty house. You get a phone call from a mysterious man telling you to drain a flood, and in return you'll get your children. So this is basically a rescue mission. Amnesia Machine for Pigs is beautiful during its open hour, and the game does a great job at making everything feel connected rather than just a bunch of different levels. This game is still about finding switches and missing items to proceed, but there are far less obstacles thrown at you, and backtracking is nearly non-existent compared to The Dark Descent, which makes for a much more enjoyable experience. Much like The Dark Descent, you do carry a lantern around, but this one does not run out of fuel. You can use it at all times. And also like Dark Descent, light attracts enemies. Here in a Machine for Pigs, you slowly piece together an experiment being done with pigs. This experiment resulted in these pig monster creatures running around the areas you're trying to get through. The game will cue you when one is near though by flickering lights, which takes away all element of surprise. So in turn, I actually went through the entire 3 hour and 40-minute campaign without dying once to them. They pose no threat. It's as simple as turning off your light when it flickers and wait for the pig monster to pass. You don't have to worry about him sneaking up behind you at all, which is the issue the original Amnesia had. Enemies are just these things that get in your way every once in a while, and a jump scare maybe happened twice. So it was again just another adventure game set in a dark place. The first half of A Machine for Pigs is a near masterpiece, and I really enjoyed the story, but the second half and especially the final third felt cliche. It's what you get in every other horror game or zombie game, a sewer. And there was a perfect place about 3 hours in to end this story that I felt the game made a mistake of not doing so, making the final hour or so stretch feel like a grind towards the credits. Again, Amnesia Machine for Pigs isn't much of a horror game, but it's a great adventure game, and I was pleased with the improvements made over The Dark Descent. Overall, this is a must-play collection for any adventure fan or anyone that wants a history lesson on the series that took survival horror to the height that it is today. I give the Amnesia Collection an 8 out of 10. If you played the Amnesia collection, tell me what you thought about it down in the comment section below. If you haven't played it, tell me if you plan on picking it up. Thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and tune in Monday for first impressions where you find out what game we're playing next. Thanks for watching.